Welcome everybody. Ooh, wow, I gotta change the screen that it captures. Why does it do this to me every single time? Welcome everyone. It's been a bit, hot minute. Welcome Kayla. Thank you for joining. Hopefully the audio is coming through on here. Just trying to get set up. Again, last week I was out in Reno, Nevada for USBC Nationals. It's my first time out there. It was actually a lot of fun. Bowling was pretty good. Lanes were nice. It's a little challenging to understand and learn, right? Overall, I didn't do too bad, and I'll probably log in and show my own recap stuff after, because right now I do have the development environment up and running. So from that, again, most of the times when I do these lives, I have a development environment going, so I can showcase updates, right? So sometimes things get a little wonky and so forth. But first, we're going to recap the nationals that I did. It was pretty nice. I ended up bowling in the 40 frame game. I bowled in the Bowler's Journal quite a few times, and I have to give a huge shout out to the USBC staff that is manning the event, from bowler services to the ball check-in folks. They were all excellent. The people running the Bowler's Journal down to the folks running the 40 frame game. They were really nice and helpful, especially for my first time. When I went in on Tuesday, I arrived. I needed to get a new bowling ball because my spare ball got broke. So I had to get a new one. I ended up getting a Storm Norm Duke Clear. The ball is beautiful. I didn't want to drill it, but I drilled it. I knew I was getting a Storm Clear ball. I just like those looks of that ball particularly. I wanted to just get the blue one, and the fact that the Norm Duke one was blue and has Norm Duke's little signature icon of him giving the fist up, I thought it was really cool to get. And rolls really nice too, and it looks nice going down the lane for a new spare ball. Unfortunately, I don't have the TS one because the fingertips chipped on it just literally the Sunday before I flew out to Reno. And airline fees. Let's talk about airline fees for a second. Airline fees are crazy. It cost me $280 to ship my luggage to Reno for the event. So I'm definitely working on a plan for Vegas for next year and trying to change that out so it's not as crazy for me. The other thing that I'd like to talk about too is the actual overall event experience was nice. They had the three major brands there: Brunswick, Storm, Motive. Brian, Wendy, and Helena over in the Motive booth. I saw them the most because I mainly bowled with my Motive gear. So for that, I ended up but having Brian just resurface my gear for me using the spinner. So much easier to have them do it than me sit there scrubbing away. If I had to, I would, but it was $5 each time. So before each session that I bowled, I just went over and saw Brian. He was super awesome to talk with and work through. So I'm wearing the Motive shirt today because I do like their products. I throw a lot of their products. I throw Storm. I throw Brunswick, right? If I was having my NU 2.0 surfaced, I would have went over to the Brunswick folks just to stay brand loyal. Brian probably would have done it for me too, but it was there. Met Wendy and Helena, the front end staff that was helping Brian. They were excellent. Got some good feedback from Wendy on some of the tournament director side. And that app, which is coming along, the beta for that should actually be just about ready to release to the public for the beta, as well as the coaching app, which we'll probably get into next week. On that, we'll probably just focus on those betas that are coming out. But while I was out there, the next update wasn't going to have anything new added to it, but I kind of added some new stuff to it based off of feedback from users while I was out there talking, and a couple of them were really good. And I'm also thinking of how can I make this app more streamlined? How can I make it easier and quicker for myself, yourselves, the users out there that are using the application? How can I make it better? right, for overall user experience and so forth. So one of the things you'll probably notice here is this is our new home screen. I do like the look of this home screen. It's pretty simple. As you know, again, 5 minutes and it stopped TikTok live. So I don't know. I gotta look into that TikTok live stuff. But um, what's happening here is I like the look of this. It's very simple. You now see 3 quick sessions. And what happens now is I got to remember not to click the screen. So over here, I kind of wish I made this cursor a different color. But right here in the cursor, this is new, the quick practice. And what this does is, I was trying to think of how can I make it faster to start games, right? And I know when I click on, if I'm going to click on league session, right? It already pops up where I select a league and allows me to create a game and start scoring a game from there. The same thing with if I do a tournament session, right? I already have tournaments that I have predefined. I'm bowling in the Mass USBC Open, multiple events, multiple weekends. I already have that tournament originally defined. It just creates a new event for them. But the way it was before is when I had to create a practice session, you'd have to come to practice, add a practice game, so forth, and then walk through the steps. So now what I did was I just made it so when I click on practice game, it just loads you directly into the frame tracking. And this will work whether you're on candlepin, eventually duck pin, and so forth. It's quicker, it's easier. I thought about almost making it the same way for the tournament side, but in order to track a tournament specifically, you kind of have to define the tournament. So I made that change because I thought it was quick and easy. So if you want to just record a quick score, you can. And then what you do is, I got to move this out of the way. This is the zoom. Let me move that out of the way real quick. We'll put it down here by the home button. That's just the zoom because I'm sharing my screen on my phone. And I am connected to the dev environment again. So what I said was, okay, so now what you do is if you click on this little pencil icon right here, it allows you to edit the details of that screen, right? Of that game. It'll say, okay, I'm bowling at East Providence, at Lang's, at the National Bowling Stadium, wherever it is, you can quickly enter that in number of games and it'll increase and so forth. So that's pretty nice, but you can get right to the meat of the scoring application just by clicking the quick practice session, right? Then we have the lanes here, and the reason we have this, we have Pier A, Pier 2. This actually came about, I was talking with a gentleman named Tyrus from Wisconsin. He was bowling the Bowler's Journal with me, and I noticed that he was using PinPal as well as jotting notes down on a notebook. And I was like, oh, Tyrus, do you mind if I pick your brain for a minute? And I asked him what he was recording. And essentially, he was recording the lane data as to what lane he started on and the ball that he was using on that particular lane. And then I showed him my app as I was tracking, because I was tracking my scores. And I said, well, I can easily change the balls per the lane, per role in which you do. And he's like, oh, I like that. I said, but I don't have it set up right now as to where it tells you which lane that you bowled on. So if I started on 13-14 pair and frame 1, I started on lane 13, frame 2's 14, right? That's typically how the alternating lanes go. I said now, because of his feedback, I added that capability. You basically put the 2 pairs in, you select which starting line is, and then it just says alternate in every frame, and it'll track it. And then that way you'll now be able to get the standards of, standard stats of, I did great on exactly lane 13, I did great on lane 14, and so forth. Which ball did you use? The other thing that I did too is, you probably noticed, I moved the targeting up here because I found I created the app, right? I use the app every single time I bowl. I haven't been the greatest, in all honesty, in tracking my targeting, and I need to, especially when I was out in nationals. That could have provided valuable feedback for me, especially when I did the practice session, right? So, and the reason I didn't was because before the targeting used to be down here, typically on a free user. That's where the banner shows, and it was kind of like hidden, right? In a way, even though it was there, it's kind of out of the process flow. So now I have the ability to quickly add the target in while I'm doing the pin setting. The other thing that I added too is if I just click on the 5 pin, what's going to happen is you notice after about 1.5 seconds of not touching another button, it auto confirms and moves to the next ball. Again, I was trying to limit the number of interactions of trying to, let me just delete that. Whereas before I'd have to go this, and I'd have to come over here and click confirm pins. Now it auto confirms the pins for you. And then you still have to come back in here afterwards and, mark if it came in high Brooklyn or whatever, and so forth. But, it's the little enhancements that I'm trying to make for users is to do that. The other thing that we added in, and this was feedback from Sabrina and Chris. I almost called you Christopher. From Chris, husband and wife duo that I see at a lot of tournaments here in the Northeast. Chris has been excellent in providing a lot of feedback. Is they wanted the ability to enter game notes quickly. So now what you can do is you can just click on that little game note icon right up here. You click on it and you can add in a little note and you can save it to that game. And it'll get attached to that game one and so forth. Which that was pretty nice. It's actually easy, pretty quick, identifiable. Again, Tyrus, who I just met out in Wisconsin, he was taking notes about the game that he was doing. Now he can then easily translate that into the app. Always have it. Sometimes you forget what page you're on. Now he could say, "Oh, I bowled in the Bowler's Journal at this time at this squad. Here's all my game notes from it. Here's the lanes that I did. Here's how it went, and so forth." So that's how that works. The other thing that we added, which you're probably not going to be able to see too much, is in the next release, this right here won't be live yet because that is tied to the Director app, which is going into beta. However, this will be live in the beta. So once the Coach and Director app become live, the users will be able to find a tournament or a league that a user is using the Director app for in there. But the other thing that I did is in the ball arsenal section, I ended up doing a couple different things with the ball arsenal screen. One of the major things I did was I went and took the entire USB-C certified list. It's over 6,000 bowling balls. And I imported all of that balls into ball data into a central Tournament Sense database. So basically where all your data resides and gets synced to, there is now a separate collection of every bowling ball out there up to as of last week. And then what I did was, because we were able to partner and integrate with bowwwl.com integration, I then took and what's the right word? It's kind of like when I not coalesce, but I basically took it and ran my database against their database, and I filled in the information that was missing. And I also did that with each of the manufacturer websites. I went through every single ball manufacturer out there, as far as Storm, Brunswick, DV8, Motive, Rotogrip, and we collected ball data in there, and we seeded our own internal database as well. So now you should get most, if not all, bowling balls. I don't know if anyone has a database of 6,000 bowling balls, but there's a lot. There's a lot list. You may not get an image of everything, but there's there. I also changed the search criteria on this, so it should be a lot less on there. So made it a little looser, I should say, is the right word. I'm trying to think what else we did. Oh, bowling centers. Again, this is another feedback one that came in. I changed the feedback on based off of Sabrina. Said, hey, I'd really like a note for the center side, like where I could put in information about note on a center. So now you can go to any center that you bowled in, and you could easily click add a note. You'll add a note about that center. It'll then say test. You now have a list of every note and when you wrote that note here in a little note ledger, as well as it shows you all the activity that you did at that particular center. Right? Not too shabby. That was, again, feedback. I also added these quick little stats because I figured let's make I'm going to use this word again, robust. I made the bowling center a little more feature and robust by adding in just some quick stats there, nothing crazy. You can easily just click on view full stats, and it's going to bring you to the performance by center page. And what I need to do is I need to make sure that when I click that, it brings you to the center in which you just came from, because it gives you a little more detail. If I go to Airport Lanes in Sanford, Florida, it gives you a lot more detail, right? Ball history and so forth at that particular lane. So it may not come out in this update. I may decide to work on it tonight. If not, I really want to get this update out there and pushed. So that little thing will happen. The other thing that I did, thank you to the Candlepin community. I also added in the ability to, when you create a league. So if I come over to a league, we're going to do create a new league. Right here, you'll see it says score and format. And what this will do is I can select Candlepin or I can select 10 pin. And what that'll allow you to do is that will set any of the event that you create within this particular league or tournament will always be Candlepin or 10 pin, which is nice, right? This is something that I didn't think about initially when I created the Candlepin feature. I buried it in the My Account screen settings, and every time you switch between Candlepin and 10 pin, you had to go back through that process. So again, this was great user feedback to make it faster and easier for users to be able to switch it up and so forth. So for that, I'm very grateful for the feedback there, which is nice. So basically, you would set up your tournament or your league, choose the format, and then you're good to go. It's always going to remember that it's 10 pin, Candlepin. All of our stats are separatable or filterable by format, either 10 pin or Candlepin. All right, if I go to the stats, I'll just go to my stats page. Obviously, I go the long way. Performance by analysis. No, I don't want that one. I want the pin frame. Spears and leaves. If I come over here, I don't have any major Candlepin data. So it's only a few from just some couple of test runs on this, right? The other thing is if I click on the spear, so I click into and I drill down, I can now see the results of that particular spear. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to change my filter to 10 pin, apply filters, and let's go to my pesky 10 pin. Now, all of these stats are not personally my stats. These are some imported stats. But from the imported stats and my stats, there's 825 converted 10 pins. But we want a double pin leave right here. Here's a great one. The 610 split. It's not really a split, but the 610 right here. It was made 127 times. 16 times the 6 pin was hit. 15 times the 10 pin was hit, and 10 times both balls were missed. This kind of gives you a good insight on, are you missing left, right, targeting? This can then ultimately help you identify which way you have to practice your spares, right? My coach will actually probably love that. So I really like that we added in this drill down feature to go a little deeper into the stats. And we may do that, further on throughout the app in there. And I should make it more known that you can drill down into the pins. And I thought about maybe rechanging the way this screen is laid out, but I don't know. That'll come down maybe off of user feedback. If they don't like the way that screen looks and they say, hey, no, we'd rather have it like XYZ, I'd consider it, and so forth. So that was a change that I thought was really cool on there. Um, let's see. Match play now should do. One thing that I realized it didn't do was it didn't calculate your. So the match play calculator, real quick. This came about from Reddit. And oh, thank you, Bobby. From Reddit. And what happens is someone asked us, hey, if I'm bowling in the ninth frame and I need to know what I need to score against my opponent to beat them, or can I beat them, right? Because I'm not good at adding the scores, right? I don't know how people can do it off the top of their head. It always confuses me. So now in the shutout calculator, if we're in the ninth frame and my score's a 145 and I get 71 pins, and my buddy, we'll use Bobby over here, his score is probably at that rate is a 175. Actually, he's probably more like a 180, right? And he has no handicap because he's a scratch bowler. If I was able to strike out, I can shut him out in the 10th. But I don't think that's possible because this is going off of handicap standards. So I would beat him from a handicap standpoint. But if this was, I had 0-0, no matter what, he's going to beat me. Even if I strike out, he's going to beat me no matter what. So, and it changes if you're at the 8th pin and so forth. It'll go through to win 36 pins, right? Kind of gives you that. This is just a fun little addition based off of some feedback on Reddit. Someone was looking for this tool, so I added it. Now, there will be the ability to, when you can actually do this in the middle of a match play, and you see match play stats. You're like, well, Luigi, why do I have match play stats? Well, what's coming down in the future, as in like version 2.5, we're almost to 2.5, but in version 2.5, you'll be able to come over here to your partners. So you have your partner screen, right? And I'm working on this because there was a bug with this linked information not properly coming over when you send a partner request. So if I'm using the app, you're using the app, and we send a partner request to each other, you'll then be able to challenge your buddies, right? To different, challenges. I challenge you to XYZ. Maybe we'll make some fun little challenges in there. There'll be a little friends, a partner leaderboard. I don't want to say friends because partners, in the bowling community, I think is a little better because I have bowling partners that I work with, my teammates. You'll be able to easily share your stats with them, I guess, if you will, because it automatically pull in your bowling stats based off your bowler profile stats, not your individual game. But there will be a leaderboard that you can challenge your friends. So therefore, that can go into head-to-head competition. So I'll challenge Bobby or my buddy Jay, Dennis, and so forth that I know use the app, and I'll challenge them, and we'll get it on there, and just for bragging rights. I may add like a little quick reaction type of thing, like smack talk into the thing, because what fun is it if you're not having a little bit of fun smack talk with your teammates? The other thing in this screen here is there are teams that you can create. You can create up to 6 teams in here. And what this does is this will allow when you're creating your event, you can quickly add predefined teams, right? You can add individual bowlers, or you'll be able to add in the predefined team. And we do track team scores when it comes to tournaments. And little secretive thing that's not really broadcast out there. Technically, you could save your team scores for an actual event as well. Again, you're going to get your pin data. You're going to get your team's overall score. All right, I could eventually set it up to where you could have each individual bowler, but that's more in the coaching app. Right, so if you're a coach and you have a team, right, you can actually track the individual frames of each of the bowlers throughout, and you can track all their pinfall data in the coaching app, right? And the coaching app integrates with the bowling app in certain ways, so that's good. But but that's nice. This is quick, again, trying to make it easier to use. I bowl a lot of times with the same folks, so instead of having to select their name individually, I can come in and do my predefined team in here. So, trying to think here. The other stuff that I really added into this update was just some bug fixes. A couple big back end bug stuff that you wouldn't notice necessarily as a user, just to kind of make the app run smoother overall. So I did some of that stuff on the back end and the cloud side, as well as into the interface here. Just some minor changes and so forth. But that's how I do it. It's pretty simple esque, if you will, right? A user submits feedback. I say, does that make sense? And can I actually implement that? And if I can, then I will. The 10 pin candle pin switch was something I wasn't thinking of. Is I always thought, well, if someone's going to use it for 10 pin, they'll use it for 10 pin. Not how easily can I switch between the two. Well, now, because of the feedback from user Patrick, I was able to make that a reality for them, and so forth. And that's what I'm trying to strive for. Also in version 2.5, which is coming probably in the next month or so, maybe sooner. I really want to get the coach and the director app out and running so I can get some good data feedback from there. Is going to be more customizations for the pro user. Again, the reason I add the customizations for the pro user is to give them more benefits, right? You're paying a yearly fee, you got to get some extra benefits for that and so forth. So for that, and for all those people that have subscribed so far, I appreciate you more than you know. For you to believe in me enough to pay me yearly to create this app and going for you is beyond words grateful. So, yep. Well, I think I changed something in the stats page too for side pots. I organized this a little better so you can select by, latest. Instead of seeing a huge list, I added a little more filtering capabilities to the side pot. Arsenal practice squad. I thought about maybe making this a little more organized, but I haven't quite figured out exactly how to do the organization on here yet. This is for all centers. I can just choose an individual center, and it'll show me all those practice squads in there, and so forth. So I got to figure that out. Again, I'm always trying to think of how can I make this better for you guys. Again, we do have the support system in here. You just literally click new ticket, bug report, feature request, account issue, subscription, other. You just want to say thank you. I actually had a user do that. They met me out in Portland, Maine. They downloaded the app, ended up getting a picture with Tim Foy, and responded to me, sent me a quick little message in through the app saying, hey, it was nice meeting you. Thank you for talking to him and stuff. And they were able to get a photo with Tim, and they were very appreciative that he took a photo with them. And bam, here you go. Easy peasy. This also shows in your account screen online. If you went to tournamentsense.com/account, all your support tickets are there as well. So in the event that your app's crashing and you can't get to that, you can get to it via the web, right? And I'm trying to make more integrations between the account screen on the web and within your app itself. Now, I was trying to see how I can make the tournament screen a little smoother to get to score and stuff. But when I stopped to really think about it, is if I'm tracking a tournament, especially a multi-day tournament, I have to preset up some of that information, right? I have to know the tournament that I'm doing, the event. I mean, you can create a tournament in less than 2 minutes. So I think that process is going to stay the way it is right now, unless I find a way to make it faster. It's pretty within 2 minutes for you to set up an actual tournament and then your first event. It's under 2 minutes if you really think about it. I could do it in 10 seconds, maybe 20 seconds because I'm a slow typer. But so I think that'll be there. And obviously these are just active tournaments. I haven't archived any of these personally, just because this particular account is just a demo account on here. Oh, the one thing that I did do that I did like is this recap report. You guys probably see me share this recap report. Is you notice how it shows the arsenal now, and for your pro users out there, or pros that people that have sponsorship deals, right? Is you have the ability to add your sponsors to your recap reports, right? As well as I gotta check. I gotta make sure that the logos get added. The sponsor logos are available in the event it's on the next screen to detail. I don't know if I added it into the detailed recap screens for the individual game, right? But as you can see here, this was another app I'm working on. I actually changed the name of this app. Again, they're not large because they're not meant to take up a lot of space, but I got inspired by Tim with this, the ability to add in sponsors, right? Because everyone has contractual obligations and stuff, and I can just I'm clicking on it like I can. I can just do that. This really isn't Brunswick, but you know, it's there, right? I just add the sponsors that I want added onto the card. Pretty simple. I do got to work on this because this should not display like that. I need to work on the formatting and that. So I'm glad I just showed this, especially with all these stuff, because this is the game averages, like the and stuff, the series totals. So it should not do that. So I'll have to look into that. So if I come into this detailed game, I got to add in the logos, which I'll get that before the next release. I'll make sure the logo part's working for the sponsors, so you can add in a few sponsors along the bottom edge here and so forth. Again, I thought of the pro user, right? Working with Tim, he likes to share his stats. You know, he has those beautiful cards. So I was trying to find a way to make it easier for the pro user that has sponsorships and stuff. It'd just be nice, right? Obviously, if they're sponsored by me, which I currently only have 2 sponsored athletes, that's Tim Foy Jr. and Aaron Major, my coach, are the only 2 actual official sponsored members of Tournament Sense. However, we are going to be opening up a kind of community staff. Kind of think of like how CTD does their staffing program, if you will. We'll have a free public staff, and there'll be criteria to join that, and then there'll be like regional staff, and then there'll be national staff, kind of like Tim is on the pro side. We'll kind of structure something like that just to kind of get the word out there, get people using the app, sharing the app more, which is always a good thing. And that's more of the community free things. We'll give you a little discount. So if you choose to want to purchase some stuff from us or to get a subscription, you'll get a slight discount at each tier that you are at and so forth. Obviously, any sponsored athletes, they have a certain deal that's agreed upon between themselves and myself that we work out there for them. But yep, so I need to add that. So I'm going to make a note to add that so I can have it in the next when this update actually goes live, because I want to make sure that's working for them, because I think it's a powerful feature. I don't know of any other bowling app that actually allows users to add their sponsors in there. So I'm going to call it industry first. Industry first right here. You got it from me. Let's see. I think that's it, really. I think that was the major stuff that was done. I mean, it's been fun getting to this point. I'm not gonna lie, I do talk about the app a lot, and I know people probably get sick of hearing about it at times, but it is a lot of fun, especially if it gets major adoption, which I think it could get major adoption if people actually just saw the real value in it. And the biggest way for that is word of mouth. Again, this top part right here is just your last session that's recorded in the particular game. But that's it. That's all I got today. I think next week we're going to cover the director app, I think, or the coach app, or maybe the 2 of them, because they're going to coincide with each other. And I think that'll be a good segue to officially launch the beta for that. If you're into other apps, which I'll probably do a live on that app coming up, And the reason I'm kind of lazy in some regards, especially when it comes to social media. And that's just because I have so much stuff going on all over the place. Like I'm on YouTube right now, and I don't plan on changing my YouTube channel name away from Nerd Blurt. Um, I may do a beta preview from the Forkmark app, um, even though, or maybe from this app I'll do it. I don't know. I haven't figured that out. Maybe I'll just do a live and Instagram live. Um, just trying to showcase the next app that I have releasing, which is called Forkmark. Name may change, but it's 90% going to be Forkmark. I really loved Restaurant Journal. Who knows? I may change it back to Restaurant Journal. But it's going to be Forkmark right now. That's what I have set up in the app stores. That's a restaurant tracking app, basically a restaurant journal. It will allow you to record your food, what you had at X restaurant, you know, a list to try here, there, as well as a random discovery app, which would be pretty cool. And it looks very similar to Tournament Sense because that's what I wanted. I wanted the branding and color schemes to all kind of match because I like the blue and orange scheme. So yeah, again, like I said, if you have any questions, you know, you can always feel free to email support@tournamentsense.com. Oh, wait. I gotta stop. We do have and we will have more stuff coming to the store. One of those things is jerseys. Well, technically two. We will have some predefined designs for Tournament Sense jerseys. If you're in the Northeast, you've probably seen a few people. I've had like 20 something jerseys sold already. So some bowlers up here in the Northeast, thank you, friends, for supporting me and believing in me to represent the brand. However, if you want to buy a jersey, you'll be able to buy a jersey. It'll be on the website. Most likely by the end of this week, I'll get them up in the store. I'm doing some back end store upgrades right now, but I'll show you guys what the jerseys look like. So we have this black jersey here. It's like black and blue, right? So this is going to be the first jersey that'll be up there for sale on there. And I haven't thought of the exact price yet. Again, I try to keep everything as reasonable as I can. So that one jersey will be on there. This actually looks really nice when it's on. Then the second jersey that we have, this one looks really nice too. This one looks really nice. This is actually the one that I wore in Nationals, this jersey right here. It's kind of like a white, light grayish, and blue with kind of like ice on it. Has the logo. Only thing that's on the sleeve here right now is this. There'll be customizations. Obviously, names are always included in it, but if you need to add, if you're a sponsored jersey, if you need to add another logo, you want to represent your pro shop or something, then there'll be additional charges for that because it costs us more, it costs you more. We have the ball spinners up there. We have the chamois up there. I don't know if I have the winter hat up there, but if you're in a cold region, we have the winter beanie hats. We have some of those. And we're going to have some more apparel coming. I'm going to work with my oldest son to manage the apparel side and basically the store, really, just because I honestly can't do it all by myself. As much as I'd like to try, I do need help on some things. I just don't have the large budget to pay someone else to help me. So, you got family, free labor. And I do need to poke my youngest son about doing the recorded videos and stuff so we can get them up and running. And on top of my priority is once this update hits is to update the how-to page with all of the screenshots. All right, I have been slacking there because I've been out bowling all of last week, and I've also been working on the updates. So I need to capture all the screenshots in order to upload them to the website for the help section. And I need to do that for all three apps, not just the one app. But first, I'm going to try and get the screenshots for the bowling app up with the walkthroughs. And if you haven't seen the walkthroughs, you would just go to Tournament Sense. I'm just going to pull it up on another page here. All right, let me just go like this. And I may change the website look too. I'm working on a new design ultimately for the website. But you basically come to tournamentsense.com/help, and the guides are right here. It walks you through everything, entering scores, pin deck mode, numeric keypad, explains the app in general, how to use it, and so forth. And there'll be an accompanying, it'll be screenshots as well as we'll add in a video link, right? Once we get all the videos done for each section, they'll get put into this page as well. So you'll have the video and they'll be up on the Nerd Blurt YouTube page. Again, because I'm Nerd Blurt, right? I've been Nerd Blurt for well over a decade, and I don't really feel like creating a new YouTube page. So, because then it's just something I have to try to remember. It's tough that I forget about the Instagram account sometimes, and I'm either between the Nerd Blurt Instagram, which is my main account, or the Tournament Sense one. So I'm in between the two all the time. So, yep, this is the help tutorials. They'll also be there for the other apps, right? The Coach app will have it. The Director app will have it as well. Basically, how to walk through and do stuff, so forth. So, as you can see here, create a tournament. It'll walk you right through how to create a tournament in the app, right? So, just a little ways to try and help out, make it easier and so forth. The Pro Shop, this is so far on the back burner, this solution. I really like to get this up and running, but I got these other ones that I really need to get first, and so forth. So, yeah, and I'm going to change this. I kind of like this, but I kind of don't like this. So I'm going to change the look of the home page most likely. I got another look in mind that I kind of like the way it looked. But who knows? It may just stay like this because it doesn't look too bad. So that's all I got for you guys tonight. Thank you for tuning in, and I appreciate each and every one of you.